Hello, ICE designers. Today we're going to talk about an issue you may run into in terms of whether or not when you import an DWG or DXF file, should you merge the layers or not? So the question is to merge or not to merge. So let's first take a look at what you might do in terms of merging, why you may want to merge files. So this one happens to be in inches, and I'm going to select merge all the layers. And I do that typically when a customer sent me a fairly simple ice drawing because merged layers are just more simple to work with. And we'll hit finished here. Doesn't take very long. As you see, now we're zoomed. Let me zoom in a little bit, or actually zoom out, so we can see this drawing a little bit more clearly. And I will pan it up. So the drawing the customer sent me has a lot of detail in it. As you see, we have all these little zeros or circles all over the floor, kind of indicating raised floor space. And this dark gray area in the bottom is where we want to really leverage that information, but it's so busy we can't really see the information very well. And even if when we start zooming in, there's just a lot of stuff laid on top of it. So there's so many layers overlaid. This makes it very difficult to leverage this information. And when we take a look at the layers, we'll see there's just two layers. The floor layer, which is the default layer, and the DXF layer. And the DXF layer is a master, so if I change the visibility in 2D, it's just all going to go away. So we don't have any way to really kind of deal with this thing effectively when we've merged all the layers. Now, if the customer had sent me a drawing that didn't have this much detail in it, I like having only one layer because it's going to be easier to hide it when it's not something I'm worrying about. So let's do this again, and this time we will keep the layers separate. So we'll say new drawing, not save our changes, file, import. I'm just going to pick the file that we had picked before. We're going to hit next. Now this happens to be in the scale of inches, so I don't have to change anything. I'm not going to change the file origin. And I'm going to stay with the default, which is keep file layers. So now all the layers will be generated as a part of the import. So we'll finish. And let's zoom again to something where we can see more of what we're working with. And we'll pan. There we go. So now we have really what we saw before. It doesn't seem that much different, but if we go to layers, you'll notice now we have a whole bunch of layers. So all these layers now are part of the drawing. The floor is the default ice layer, which once we put a default floor in will be there. So I typically move that up. That way everything below DXF is a layer of the imported file. Now the DXF is still a master layer, so you'll notice that if I uncheck just DXF, all of the image goes away. So if you want to quickly hide or unhide the import, just check or uncheck the DXF value. Now, how do we clean this up? How do we make it more effective? Well, what I typically do is you can hide all the layers, turn on just the DXF layer, and then slowly turn on the layers one at a time and see if there's anything there that you really want. So as we move through this, we're going to start seeing some layers that really don't have information that we care about. So let me check a few more. We're starting to see some lines here. And maybe if I move that over here and zoom out. Alright, yeah, you can see some more of that stuff here. So let's zoom at that level. That's a pretty good level. And then I'm going to pan. So now we have a lot of stuff we don't care about. Really all we care about is what's going to be down in this lower left corner. So what I can do now is use box select. I can kind of select the things that I don't want and kind of trim these layers down, the information out of the layers. So we're just deleting this, and this is a lot faster doing this than trying to individually select stuff. And you can kind of control, once you find a layer you want, you can turn it off so that you don't accidentally delete stuff. So let's see here. So that's a layer that the walls are an important layer. So that's a layer I wouldn't want to really delete, or if I'm going to work on it very carefully so I don't delete the walls that that I care about. Yeah, let's go down there. So that's kind of a way you can, bring up stuff and say, okay, well that layer here that I just turned on, equipment weights, that's not really something we care about. So I'm going to just box select that data and delete it. So that's how you can go through the process of cleaning up your DWG import to the point where you only have the layers you care about, and not have to worry that there's data out there that is too much data. So you can see these circles. That's the circle layer. So if I turn off everything else, that's those annoying circles are things I don't want. So I want to turn off everything else because I don't want to delete anything but those circles. So I'm going to turn off everything but the circles and the DXF layer. Alright, so now, as you can see, we have just the DXF layer selected, because if we don't select it, this will disappear. And we have the numbers, all circles layer here. AB, chord, num, all circles. I don't know what that is, but there's way too many circles and makes this thing way too busy. So now that I have just that selected, I can do a box select and delete all these things. So that way, even when I turn on all the layers, they're not going to show up anymore. So I got rid of that layer in that process. So this checkbox no longer really makes any difference. Unfortunately, I can't like a right click and delete this layer, which would be a really nice feature, but it doesn't exist. But that's the way you can neutralize a layer so that it has no real impact on your drawing. And we can then turn on all of these other layers as we want till we get to kind of the image we want. And if we find another real busy layer that has a lot of stuff on it that we don't care about, like that one right there, I may go ahead and delete that one. Since I can kind of delete around it a little bit, I may just may not worry about turning other layers off. I may simply want to box select this and delete it, since I can kind of trim it out of the way. If it overlaps with the part of the drawing I care about, then I may have to hide the layers that have the walls and floors that I don't want to delete, so that I can box select the things that are unnecessary and clear them out. So you can see there's still some numbers kind of in the middle of those walls, and so if I turn off all those walls, and I can then delete them without having to worry about taking out more than I want. So you can just leave the number layer there that doesn't seem to have any real value. And oops, cannot check the DXF. There we go. So thanks for listening. That's how you can clean up your layers within your DWG import and use them more effectively. Thank you for watching.